Now, let's move on to the next session on the theme of Japan's Deep Tech Decacorn Strategy, Unveiling Japan's Strengths in the Global Market. The panelists for this session are Mr. Hiroki Koga, co-founder and CEO from Oishi Farm. Ms. Alissa Miky, CEO of Aquathion. This session is moderated by Mr. Akito Arima, partner from Beyond Next Ventures.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure you are hungry, so I hope that you will enjoy our section while maybe eating. Today we have two big guests all the way from the United States. Koga-san is from New York, and Alissa is from Los Angeles this time. And they will be able to share with you a lot of things that you can only hear today. Okay, let's ask Mr. Koga from Oishi to introduce himself and his company. Thank you. So we are the startup companies running the vertical farm of the strawberry in the United States. And I was born and raised in the United States, and went to the United States and started the vertical farm of strawberries in New York. Now, let me just show you the video so that you will see what we have. About an hour from New York, we have the farm, all supported by the solar power generation. And these are the building structures that we have vertical farms of strawberries inside. It's really huge, a little bit smaller than Tokyo Dome, and maybe about the 365 years, 5 days of the year, we produce the strawberries that is worth production of the entire company, and we recycle waters, and we use the energy instead of the real sun power. As you can see, the shelves are filling from the top to the bottom. There are no corridors. The shelves actually moves to the people or robot for picking the strawberries. So the technology is so advanced, and this is a showcase of our latest technology. This is the AI making judgment for the automated picking. These are all internal projects. And you think that we are the seller of strawberries, but we are really the deep tech, taking advantage of all kinds of leading edge technologies. And we are investing impossible amount of money for the mass production. Our products are already sold in some hundreds of store locations, including wholesale. Thank you. Wow, this is great. I was so surprised to see the area of solar power. That was actually Goldman Sachs sun solar power generators. And there was a huge plastic plant right next to it, and we tried to negotiate to obtain both, and we buy all the electricity from the Goldman, and then we purchased this plastic plant, and so there is a really a risky situation, but you ended up with a very sustainable environment. Yes, it was not necessary to have a solar power generation right next to the plant, but this is a very good video to show the appeal what we can do in a very sustainable manner. So that was very impressive. Thank you. Alissa, would you like to introduce yourself too? I am Miky Alissa from Aquathion. pleased to meet you all. And nobody is giving me applause, so I'm so shocked. Well, we are the members who have a very rough way of, a casual way of talking, and I think it's going to be give a hard time for the interpreters. But yes, so please be cheerful, everyone. That was not enough, so give us more applause. Yes, thank you, thank you. Japanese people can read the things that is hidden in the between the lines. Well, what I wanted to do is from my teens doing a lot of businesses so that I can deploy, introduce the Japanese culture to the world. And now I'm working on the marine plant-based products. As you know, Japan is made of islands, which means that the seaweeds are available everywhere. These interesting seaweeds that are very versatile can be introduced to the rest of the world so that the people in the world can enjoy the benefit. Why seaweed are we focusing on? I believe that the seaweeds are representing our future. It grows 30 centimeters a day. Compared to other food materials, the burden on the environment is very low. And as you know, the seaweeds are so good for your health. Alzheimer's disease or there are a lot of early stage evidences to help heal the difficult diseases. The seaweeds can be used for many different things, sweets, hair care, skincare, the food, processed food. Recently, the walls and glasses, not non-foods, are also the examples of applications. And especially we are focusing on gelatin market, soft gel capsule. 80% of the soft gel capsules are made in gelatin, and we want to go selling the seaweeds in this market. What you're going to intake or in the body can be manufactured from the seaweed. Many people said, is it really sellable in the United States? Is it seaweed sellable in the United States? The answer is yes, it's very popular. According to the Whole Foods Trend Chain keywords, the seaweed has been chosen 2 years in a row, and 22% increase of the condiment furikake has been observed very recently too. However, the problem is that when the market is so big, there are very limited number of marine plant-based product companies. There are a lot of problems. The marine plants are not good for the manufacturing because the quality varies depending on the temperature. There are a lot of hurdles that need to be overcome. That's why there are not so many companies.
So in this context, Japan just happens to be a leading marine plant technology country where over 400 years we've been consuming marine plants and seaweeds, and we have many different interesting technologies. So famous for red seaweed papa, Ina Food Industry, we are partnering with them for foundational technologies, and then through the development to be able to deliver many different products. And from there, the Japanese confectionery brand from Misaki, Tokyo, $50 a piece, Crystal Tricks, which is vegan, gluten-free, and non-additive. 5-6 years ago, we've launched this brand, and currently we have 1.4 million TikTok followers and 1.5 billion times in views, and it actually surpassed Coca-Cola for some time. That's amazing. Thank you very much for saying so. And also, Kim Kardashian paying attention, as well as Umi, where in the first time ever, it's based on red seaweed. It's a drink where satiety, where red seaweed diet used to be a fad, now that has been turned into a juice. And Seabiotics is the communication anchor. 3 weeks ago, we've officially launched this, and Already, over 700 stores in the US carries the product, and we're going to make an effort to reach this to 1,000 stores. It's very colorful, very amazing. And one more thing that we're challenging ourselves in is in the medical as well as plastic alternative patented technology, which we call the tequila bowl. Very high concentration alcohol, where you can change the shape and do many different types of shapes, and we want to turn this into medical use capsules. So thank you very much. The two of you, you're very good at presentations. I'm thinking I should have introduced my company more. Well, Koga-san, your scale is just so grand. I wanted to make an effort more than you do. Koga-san, I was looking at you and it seemed like you really wanted to speak up. But I'm going to keep on asking questions. Please be rest assured. And the moment I met you too, Koga-san, I met you like 6-7 years ago, but you've always had this sense of self-confidence. And it really feels like if I follow your lead, then all is well. I can really feel that passion and that confidence that exudes from yourselves. And I wanted to ask why, because vertical farms, back then and now, there are many competitors. And right now, there are many unicorns, but in this environment, a Japanese person using Japanese technology to launch a company in the US and to challenge the global market, how did you come to the stage with that sort of confidence? Well, there was no justification because I'm not a serial entrepreneur. I was just a 5-year consultant in a consulting firm, and I didn't know if I would succeed. But I spent some time overseas from childhood, and I've seen scenes where Japanese-born products and technologies have been a hit in the US, but going back to Japan, it seems like the society and environment was more towards despair, where it's declining. But vertical farms in Japan, it was popular for about 15 years, but it didn't really pick up, and many companies were collapsing. And when I was in the US, it just happened so that sustainability was becoming more and more of the trend, and something had to be done about agriculture. Vertical farms, where the industry changed from gasoline to electricity, the same thing, where I felt that there was opportunity. And there are more valuable technologies in Japan, and I can speak both languages. And in the global market, now that I was in Silicon Valley, right in the right spot, where I felt that it was a crossroads where I can cross-fertilize everything that I have in my background, and I really wanted to spread the word towards the global market. It was a concentrated moment, very intense moment, and I was right in the intersection at the very forefront of it all, in the center, and I felt, well, I have to do this. I didn't know if I would succeed, but I had no other choice than to do this. So it was, well, I can't really say this in front of investors. Well, I felt like it was okay if I failed, but I had that commitment. Well, Koga-san, what was really impressive to me was, ever since you launched the company and you showed your history, it seems like you were kind of tinkering around with toys at the very beginning, right? Yes, I have a few slides that I can show you. It's this. Right when we started the company, after graduating UC Berkeley, the MBA program, Brendan, my co-founder, and with my classmate, weeks after our graduation, was an old storage room and $8,000 or so back in the time. Well, it was our own money where we paid that amount. It was a rundown space, and we imported the LEDs, and the voltages are very different, so we had to open up the wires, and we lived together, and over midnight every single day. And we would manufacture ourselves, and then we would go out on sales activities. This is amazing, where now you've funded over tens of billions of money in yen, and now you're a unicorn company. I think it was huge that we did this ourselves initially, because large company executives you don't do things on your own, you outsource. But if you go through that phase without learning how to make things yourselves, you don't know what the effort is in the background, and then you end up going bankrupt, I feel. So I think, Alissa, you have the same level of confidence and energy, which I felt that from the get-go. But you're also very charming, and I wanted to ask you, why do you have that much confidence in your passion on marine plants, and what was your ambition in wanting to go out into the global market? Well, I didn't think that I would be a startup founder for marine plants, different from Koga-san. I didn't go to the US for university, and I did spend some time growing up, but I graduated from Waseda University, a Japanese college, and I was working in a Japanese company. I didn't think that I would be a founder at all.
But well, when I was in a childhood, there has been a lot of identity crisis. I was bullied. I had very negative experiences. But after all, I love Japan, and as a Japanese, how can I protect this beautiful culture of Japan? That's what I was thinking. And when I was 23, I joined in the florist, the startup, and then I worked with several other companies. Just like Koga-san, I started from my kitchen and won the patent one by one. How things are being manufactured, how things are developed, that's very huge strengths that we have. I think that's common for both of us, but I would say that you both love Japan's product, service, and technologies. It's really nice that you have such a big love for Japan. And I saw some brand pages in the later slides, but both of you have developed a brand through your product. But you are selling strawberries, and how do you develop your brand on the strawberry? Well, there are several reasons why we produce strawberries. Considering some decades, the vertical farming will be less costly because usually conventional agriculture will be costly in terms of lands and the human involvement. So looking at the fundamentals, of course, depending on the region and the the product, eventually vertical farming will be cheaper. Think about automotives. Tesla, for example, in 2009 launched the Roadster. They were capable of producing about 1,000 units, but it was faster than Porsche. But it costed 3,000 30 million yen. And then Honda also released the electric car later on, but they didn't. The performance was not as good as Tesla. Tesla now has the political issues, but after 10 years, the Tesla is still stronger. When you look into the goal of the long surviving the vertical farm industry, the brand is very important, and we are the only one who has all the capability. But I'm sure there will be a follow suit. We have to have establish a overwhelming brand first. Out of all different the agricultural produces, we have selected strawberries because it is possible to establish the great brand with strawberry rather than the conventional seeds. This is a Tesla model, by the way. We started off from $50 per plate strawberries for the Michelin restaurants, for example. For the first year, we delivered those celebrities, those expensive strawberries myself. And the third year, fourth year, when we sell through the wholesale, this legendary $50 strawberry is now available near you. That was the kind of the aim that I was looking for. So that was a very strategical approach. Oishi Berry is a great name too. I'm I thought that, yeah, out of all different candidates, we cannot budge to any different names. But this is really fashionable and sounds very nice too. Well, now let's turn to Alissa now. Seaweed is a new genre in the United States. Strawberries are the known agricultural products. So there is a conventional market, and the strategy of Koga-san may have been easier to accomplish because he was going for the top in the existing industry. But Alissa, you are the how to penetrate the seaweed sweets and the drinks. Well, our brand strategies is the outcome of the strategy of Oishi Berries. I think a lot of people do, and I have to say thank you very much for Koga-san. Yeah, please take all the necessary information and use it for yourself. Well, same thing really with Misaki Tokyo. The Oishi, we were we really witnessed is how the Oishi Berries reduced the price for after established the brand. But the brand building that they have been doing is very difficult to do. The Oishi, the Japanese taste is has kept in the design 80%, but it's completely, applicable in the United States. So that was really difficult thing to do. I am very pleased to hear that. Maybe you can charge for it. Yeah, you can give me strawberry as a reward. But anyway, we also try to put all those processes in the world and how the strategy can be applied to us. We decided our name is Misaki Tokyo and decided on the colors, authentic communication, and Americanized balance has been determined.
However, for us, the difference with Oishi is you already have a market. We needed to create our own market. Therefore, Misaki Tokyo, in truth, I felt there was a cap to the ceiling because if we make it cheaper, it's going to dive into the world of gummy candies, and I didn't want to do that. Therefore, I wanted to go after a market that was a bit bigger. And kombucha actually has a market size of 1 trillion. And the other day, Poppy, a prebiotics company, was acquired by Pepsi with 1.95 billion, and the revenue is 600 million. Therefore, if confectionery is selling well, 100 million, 200 million is not a line that we want to go after. We want to go over that with drinks up to 900 million or so. Therefore, I wanted to rebuild the technology from Misaki Tokyo with Umi, and that was a difficult challenge indeed for us. So in a larger market, you are challenging with a new product. Yes, in that context, Umi, it's not just challenging with prebiotics, it's using C-biotics adjacent to it, as well as GLP-1, Ozempic market, which is growing, and to be compatible with that as well with the functionality and the branding, to look after the branding as much as possible. So C-biotics, you created this word? Yes, we have a TM. C-biotics is now taking on a life of its own, and we've received a lot of media interviews. Therefore, in terms of creating new trends, how to be adjacent and also follow the trend too. We cannot switch over drastically, so it's a new market as well as to be aware of the differences with Oishi, but go after our own. So now that you're promoting it, don't you feel that you want to try it out? Do you want a taste of it, or can you only buy this in the US? Yes, unfortunately, I'm calling out to the Japanese manufacturers. Please let me know. So maybe a co-research, and R&D for the Japanese version? Okay, so on the other hand, a question to Koga-san. Your capex is outstanding. You just showed us the video of the solar panels and the mega farm, which is very grand and very large funding, very large scale, but how do you feel about this? Well, we already knew that the capex was going to be very large, but outsourcing, we cannot do this honestly because nobody has done this. Maybe vertical farms in lettuce, but not so much. But taking construction, if we even outsource to a large general contractor, they are professionals, but they've never created a vertical farm. And with robotics, too, they've never dealt with this kind of robotics. So we just had to do it on our own. There was no other way, and everything was therefore done internally. When we went through the seed round for funding, we only had a concept. And vertical farms, you can only make lettuce, but with me, you can make strawberries. That was the pitch. And there you now have branding, and with more vertical farms out in the world in 10 to 20 years, we will be the #1. That was our only line that we could lead with. I was not a serial entrepreneur, so in the first round of financing, it was a struggle, and people looked at me, I was crazy, and it was really looking to the people who would want to bet on me. And a lot of people thought of me and said I was a fraud, but very famous angel investor did say those words, and a lot of people withdrew. And I'm from Berkeley, and everybody is a startup, and the professors were saying, well, please do this. We encourage you to do so. But when I went to the round and to the stage, back in the day, 2017 was in the era of SaaS, and agri-tech was not even a buzzword, and agricultural startup was unfound of, and everybody was saying, do not bet on this, and the entrepreneurship professor even said that, and I was met with a lot of pushback. But with this sort of traction, now people are seeing the compelling factor of it. Let's show the slide. Yes. So Michelin restaurants, about 20% of those in Manhattan are consuming our strawberries. And with these celebrities as their customers, now we have more brand partnerships. And through these collabs and efforts, now there are more and more people who are seeing the potential and the possibility. So I would invite the top leaders from Japanese large companies over to New York and to ask for funding. But now people would want to be a part of this, right? I think Japanese manufacturers would see how large of a potential of this is. So is your business model going to focus just on in-house, or are you going to look at potential licensing potentials? Well, there are many different opportunities, but the brand is what we want to protect. I don't want to venture off into a franchise model without stability. So for the time being, it will be just ourselves, but whether or not we're going to hold the capex ourselves forever, that's not our goal. So perhaps we would partner with another company as a venture a project, and maybe we would guide the technology and quality assurance. I think R&D and branding, ultimately, it would sort of encompass those two, and in the middle, the manufacturing, if it can be automated and mass-produced, maybe in the future we can do a co-manufacturing method. Yes, so recently, with Japanese operators, you've done a lot of collaboration, and you've done partnerships, and with Mega Farm being more larger. So I think it has a potential to really encompass the whole of Japan across many different industries, right? Yes, and all of these domains are involved, and in the past we've done all of these ourselves, but it's not scalable. So we have vertical farm, dedicated robots and air conditioning and LEDs, and we show all of our technologies to the manufacturers, and we have them come and see. In the Open Innovation Center, we've already decided that we're going to make this in Japan, in Tokyo, so we're going to invite a lot of people and to package that in sort of like IKEA furniture, sort of like a package manufacturing where now we can export to the rest of the world.
This is what I want to do in several years. When's your next round? Oh. Yeah, I am always in need of finance. Well, if anyone's interested in participating in finding, I mean, there are some individuals. Well, if possible, yes, by all means, anytime we would love to use your finance. All right, Alissa, you mainly work in the scheme of co-manufacturing. Why did you select to go for co-manufacturing rather than the internal development? I really respect Koga-san, and but I thought it would be impossible for me to finance this much money. This is happening because of Koga-san. That's really the huge aspect of why I went for co-man. Luckily, we are the technology company of seaweeds. Maybe we can do something that doesn't cost too much on capex. What was difficult for me, though, was in Japan, you have to boil for 15 minutes at 80 degrees Celsius, and in the United States, the rule is totally different. So the available machines are different from the region to another region, and we have to develop the screen and so on for the localization. That means that we have to develop something. We have to, modify what is available in the United States. Then, if that is possible, we probably didn't have to use the 100% internal development. So that was where we started, and benefit and shortcome and are really hard to see. We have a no capex, and we could use a lot of money for the people and the technology development. If we are, because we are not using our own facilities and we know all the conditions, it is very fast to scale. That's a great benefit. Yes, that's really nice. Yeah, OEM is, the co-man is definitely better if you don't have to, manufacture anything yourself or produce anything yourself. But it took 4 years. For many startup, 4 years is too long. But luckily, we had a great traction from Misaki, Tokyo, and then we could use that the period of time to get to Umi and then to the next patent. When we say this is possible with other companies, they may think that it doesn't apply to them. So finding a right balance is difficult. Of course, producing yourself is costly and time-consuming, and but you don't make money unless you have the product. OEM, on the other hand, the co-manufacturing scheme involved external parties, so it's not your own world. Yes, the food industry is really dominated by the white male. I am Asian, non-English native. There was a very obvious discrimination, and some people intentionally introduced undesired materials in the produce. There were a lot of problems. Yeah, they said in California, let's start from this co-manufacturing, and if this co-manufacturing project is not successful, we don't agree for the next one. There were a lot of the hurdles, unnecessary hurdles that has been created. Yes, I think in the U.S. there is a very strong societal boundaries. So local man works for everyone or capex model works for everyone. There is no answer which is better for the startups. Well, we had no choice but doing it on our own. But we really want to go quickly to the OEM model to make this. That's why we are introducing the production package, the vertical farm package. Once the package is sent, like IKEA's the furniture kit, it will be very easy for the local entities to produce anything. Yes, there are a lot of IT support with remote technologies too, so this is really feasible. Well, Koga-san, what is your future? Koga-san, you have the business in New York, in the United States. You're coming to Japan. Alissa is mainly working around the West Coast, around Los Angeles area in the United States. In 5, 10 years, which areas are you paying attention to? Where are the areas you want to expand your business? We have been, we feel that the limiting our business in the United States is satisfactory because only with the beverages we can make $600–700 million sales, and the seaweed can be the source of a lot of things. For the candies, maybe 400 million, supplement 900 million, plastic, the capsule alternate 1 million, the medical capsules more larger billion. So we would like to work in the United States and make a lot of products based on the marine plants. And the QP is the company that we respect a lot. QP is making a lot of things on eggs, and the Kagome makes a lot of things on tomatoes. And we want to be the seaweed company that makes a lot of things to the for the United States. Usually the world trend start from the United States, and then 3 years later it goes to the Europe, and then go to the East Asia. So we want to establish ourselves in the United States first. We have technology, and maybe through the franchise or the partnership, we would like to make the expansion when it is right.
And agri-tech, food tech startups. Agri-tech, food tech is one of the themes for Sushi Tech this year. And from day one in the US, US is the food tech nation. The question is to whether to do this in the US or to do in Japan. And I think it's difficult to make that ultimate decision. And for you to, in doing your business in the US, let's say you were to start from scratch, would you do this again in the US? I would definitely do it in the US because food culture in terms of regulations, also because it's completely different in environment. Let's take this drink. What's most popular is strawberry hibiscus for us. And in the Japanese market, it can be either like a strawberry or grape flavor, just one single flavor, and that's it. And in the US, this does not sell. Where you cross cultures, that's where the value of food goes up. Therefore, remotely from Japan, I think it's going to be very difficult to do. But let's say you want to cater more to functional sides of it, like medical capsule. Maybe you can do this in Japan. But in terms of branding, building a strong brand, common values for people in Japan, in good and bad ways, it's sort of like Galapagos. For us, we're isolated. With this sensibility, if you go to the US, then you're not going to stand a chance. Therefore, I think I was lucky in challenging in the US. I think it's really easy to go from the US to Japan or from the US to Europe. But the opposite is very difficult, in my experience. But how do you feel, Koga-san? It's very close for me as well. That's the reason why we didn't start in Japan, because I don't know whether or not US is the only place, but product market fit in the global world, where is the best place? From a zero basis perspective, Japanese consumers are the most strict. I think the standards are going to be much more tough than the US. Maybe I wasn't able to recognize the brand in Japan as much as US, where in the US, strawberries didn't make it in the market because of their tasty aspects, and I felt that I had an opportunity there. So I think if you create just a Japanese team, then you need more adjustments. But because we started off in the US, Japan was just one of the many markets, and now we can look at it flatly across the world and just decide where to expand next. Therefore, it's going to be much easier. But initially, at the launch period, for a non-US person, we're going in naked, and Caucasian people, guys, are going out in the market after graduating Ivy League schools, and they have swords, and we only go in with clubs, and we're bare naked. So for us, different from Koga-san, the team was completely Japanese. So I think I really feel that difficulty. And right now, your teams are outstanding, where you involve the best members. For us, we're not going to be able to battle just with ourselves, and the trick is to hire people who are better than us. So I think that's the difference with Japanese startups, because board members and executive team members and managers, directors above the level, the quality is really important, right? So Asian US startups, they kind of crowd in Asian people, but for Koga-san, it's very rare as an Asian founder to have a diverse team. Yes, thank you. So the theme for today is Gigacorn, and the assumption is that you two are going to be gigacorns, but in order to become gigacorns, what are some of the last messages that you want to leave? In order to become a gigacorn, what is the factor that you feel is important? Yes. SaaS and IT companies in the past 10 to 20 years were the majority, the mainstream, but now we talk about deep tech, and I think this is a winning streak for Japan. Deep tech is science times manufacturing. Just with science, you have to mass produce, so it doesn't work, and US and China, yes, they're winning in science, but similarly for Japan. And sustainability in this context, science didn't have much value, but now with sustainability at the forefront of everything, there's a lot of science and technology that comes into play. So not just Japan, but when you look at the world map, the Japanese technologies match to the needs, and the vertical farms was the answer. And 20, 30 years, it wasn't the answer. After 10, 20, 30 years, under a different context, it's sort of like a 100 trillion yen industry where people are suddenly seeing the value. So using the strong technologies in Japan, where you have that sort of compounded factor that you know that you have value, that you can go against the world. So it's the balance, right? Not just technology, but you also have to look at the market. But just with the market, with no technology, then you're going to end up with a gap. So Tesla, ultimately, BYD is winning because manufacturing, it's very weak in the US. 0 to 1 invention they excel in, but for mass production, they're weak. So in Japan, manufacturing, we're known in the world for being manufacturers. So we have a lot of potential, right? Yes, that is true. And the rest is the founders like you to understand the market. With the right blend, there's the chance to become gigacorns. Yes, that is exactly true, because it's just a matter of no players right now, especially in food tech and deep tech industries. You just have to solemnly and solidly make an effort. you don't have that spurt of energy from AI, so you need to work on it one step at a time. Japanese were great at this, at working on things one small step at a time, and there's no one challenging this in the US. So just you going over to the US brings value. I really want to leave this message with you where your passion is going to make money in the US, and that's going to be your strength. Therefore, I want you to come to the US. You're promoting. You're asking for a vote. Yes. I want more players. And because of Koga-san, I'm here today. And when I look back, there are no challengers. And it's such a shame. So you're like a Sherpa at Mount Everest, and Koga-san, you have gone through the track, and we're following the footsteps, and I'm still at Station 4, and I'm very exhausted, but you are already near the very top, and after our footsteps, there's still a path for many others to follow. Thank you very much.
Conclusion. We have a lot of chances that can be disseminated from Japan. Yes. Well, I think we are running out of time, so we'd like to conclude the dialogue now. But if you are interested, please come join us at the right-hand side of the on the right-hand side of the stage for the name card exchange. Thank you.